Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you my artist trading card for day 26 of the hashtag ATCAD2020 event from Art Joy of Sharing, which is a art community over on Facebook that I run with Peg Robinson. We also have a live stream every Thursday at 8:30 Pacific Time, 10:30 Central Time. And you can come and watch that. We've been making ATCs all month, and lots of other people have joined us. You can still join in, even though it's almost the end of the month. You can make ATCs, share them in the group, share them on social media using that hashtag. So for day 26, I saw something on Pinterest that reminded me of something else. Um, I have these cards that were made by a friend of mine who has since passed from cancer. She was 16 when she passed away, but she made these cats with clothes, and then they had them made into greeting cards, and they were a lot more fancy than this one that I'm going to make, but I like to do collage. Hers were um, either acrylic or oil paintings. Um, but mine's just going to be a much simpler version. But I saw something like this on Pinterest, and then it reminded me of what Tori made, the cats in clothes. Some of hers had hats. They had very fancy outfits. They were kind of like Victorian. Maybe they even had parasols. I'm not sure. But much simpler version of that. I cut my cat head out of some dictionary page, which I think is in Spanish. Trying to read it. And I just cut a very basic cat's head with ears. And then I had a scrap of printed tissue paper and I cut a little simple oval, half oval shape for the dress for the cat. And then I have this little scrap of lace and I'm cutting some lace and gluing it on there for kind of like a little collar or the top of the dress just to make it a little bit more interesting. Or maybe it's a blouse, I'm not sure. The cat's not going to have arms. It's just very, very simple shape. So I glued the papers down with Yoo-Hoo glue stick and I glued the lace down with some tacky glue. Um, Easier to glue down with tacky glue for something that's textural like this lace. And then that's just my basic collage. The rest of it's going to be finished with pins. I thought that she should have some buttons on her shirt since there was a definite line down the middle of the dress or shirt where it looked like it could be a flap. So I used a white Posca pin for that. I'm cutting out some little irregular shapes to make some flowers in her hair. I didn't want to make a hat, so I thought flowers would be more fun. And the one that I saw on Pinterest had flowers. You know, Pinterest, it's doing the same thing that Facebook and Instagram is now, where it's showing you what it thinks you want to see, like a social media. You know, you go on there, and unless you're going to search for something, it's going to give you stuff to see. And it brought up all these little animals that were probably done by the same artist. They were prints you could buy. Uh, and I didn't see who the artist was, but it wasn't Teespring, but it was something like one of those other things. It was an advertisement for these little animals, and I thought, oh, they're cute. Reminds me of what Tori made. So I'm taking a water soluble pencil. That's a Stabilo All. It's very, very water reactive, and I'm going around the edges, just making a little bit of a shadow to make my shape stand out from the background. The background is a gel print with a couple different colors and a stencil. I'm sure the stencil's from Stencil Girl, but it's all covered up now, so I can't really see. But it's got some greens and some type of a gray or something, or maybe a light blue. It's just a real basic pattern. So then next I took some illustration pins. These ones, the name of the brand is PIN, like pin, only like the kind you would poke with, not the kind of PEN, is pen. So I always find that kind of funny. But this package has two light gray, two dark gray, and two black. Very, very fine tips. So I'm using the gray, the darker gray, and I think it's the 0.1, 0.01 to draw in the features of my cat. A little nose, some eyes. And this pen is permanent when it's dry, but it has maybe a second that you can manipulate it slightly with a water brush. So I did do that a little bit, not too much. I ended up adding other pen for my shading and things. This is a tabby cat, a gray tabby cat, I think is what it's called. It's got stripes, sort of little stripes or something on its face and head. Um, I think that I do dogs more than cats. I'm more of a dog person than a cat person. We were discussing this in my family the other day. Are you on team dog or team cat? Maybe you're on team bird or team fish. It was just a little funny thing we were talking about, and I think I'm team dog, mostly because I'm really, really allergic to cats. But my youngest son has two cats, and he's definitely on team cat. And then we were talking to the different people in the family to see which they preferred. Not that I'm against any animals, I'm not. It's just like if I like my dog a lot. So then I got out some Faber-Castell Pit Artist pens. These are an acrylic ink pen. And I colored in the nose to make it pink, and I colored in the inside of the ears with a little bit of the pink. I decided that she would have green eyes since the background is green. Cats have different color eyes, I think, but this one has green eyes. I added a little bit of white to the muzzle, or whatever you would call it, around the mouth, to kind of just lighten that up slightly. It's not that much of a change. And then I put some light gray brush pen around it to give it a shadow, which now it makes it stand out more. And I'm doing that same light gray over the stripes and around the eyes for a little bit of shading around the outside of the face and the ears to give a little bit more interest. And then I go back in with the black colored pen, the O1 PIN pen, the pen. Makes me laugh every time. And I'm drawing the pupils. I'm drawing kind of up and over the arch of the eye, a little bit around the nostrils, around the little mouth, some dots where I'm going to put whiskers on the sides of the face, and just adding some small details with the black pen, not going over everything. That because that's the darkest color. So I've got some of the medium gray, I've got light gray, I've got black, and oh, here's where I'm going over the little stripes with a medium or light gray. I can't remember which one that was. There's several grays in the set of the Faber-Castell Pit Artist brush pens. Adding a little bit more pink to the nose, just, this and that. I added a little catch light to the eyes using the Posca pen. Remember, Posca pens are acrylic paint, so they are opaque. So you can go over other stuff and it will cover it. It will not show through the Posca paint pen, whereas these other pens are all translucent, the India ink ones and all the other pins. So I'm done with my details, and I'm going to go in and put these little flowers that I've cut out. One of them I cut out from a little picture from a calendar. I cut a couple of flowers out so they're more like realistic ones. And then I just have these blobs for the rest of the flowers. And then I'm going to fill in the foliage and more flowers with Posca pins. So I've got a couple different sets of Posca pins here. I end up using the fine tip ones, but my set is not as complete in the fine tips as it is in the medium. So I think I had to use the light green from the medium because I didn't have the light green in the fine tip. I definitely prefer the fine tip. I won't get the mediums again. It's just something that I got a long time ago, and I just prefer the fines. They have more pointy And I can still make a fat line with them by turning them on their side, but I can make a very fine line with the pointy. They also have extra fine Posca pins, and I've never purchased any of those, but I bet they would be nice too. I just think I like more control with the finer tips of things, and that includes brushes as well. I tend to use even my water tank brushes. I have, several different sizes and a flat and all this different stuff with the water tanks, and I end up using the very finest tip almost all the time. So I'm probably a control freak. I probably like to keep everything in a lot of control. And that's okay. That's okay. So then, excuse me, I'm adding back in a little bit of darkness with that Stabilo pencil and blending it because, I have that in other places. And then I also come back in later with the fine tip marker again, just to make sure I've got everything where I want it. And everything is highlighted the way I want it, and you can see it exactly the way I wanted it. I know a lot of you have really been enjoying the daily videos all this month. Um, the month is almost over. We just have a little bit left. And then I will be going back to videos every other day, or in some cases, every third day. I need a break from so much video editing. I spend a lot of time editing video, and the more videos I make, the more time I spend doing that instead of doing art. So I want to go back to larger projects. Artist trading cards are 3.5 by 2.5. They're very small, the size of a playing card or a baseball card. So maybe I'll make gigantic canvases the size of a wall because I'm so tired of tiny little things. Maybe. So here we have the little black pin, and I'm adding the final details into the card with, kind of scribbling around the flowers and just making them have more details. And I think it's really cute. I like the way it looks. I do want to put some words on there. So I will be doing that. I also trimmed it down just 1/8 of an inch so that it would fit on a black background. I guess I'm adding a little bit more shading around the buttons and adding some little sewing dots to the buttons so they really look like buttons. But I do want to put it on a black background, so I'll be doing that. I like the frame around it sometimes for my ATCs. Adding a few more highlights with the white, just a little bit of fussy stuff. So the words I want to put there, I want it to say, you do you, because this cat is definitely doing her. She's got an outfit, she's got flowers in her hair, she's not worried about what someone else thinks about her. If she looks silly or not, she doesn't care what other people think. So those were the words I wanted. And I started to write them with a marker and then changed my mind. Oh, here I am putting the back on it. This is just a printed on my computer. You can make 9 on a page, cut them apart. It says who I am, where I'm from, all my social media links, so that if I send this to someone, they'll have all that information. It's a good thing to do if you're planning on giving them away or trading them. There's groups out there that do ATC swaps all the time. So here I started to write with my marker, and then I was like, no, I don't like that. So I decided to get on my Brother P-Touch label maker. I selected the third size and then printed out the words. And then I cut them apart and peeled and stuck them on so that it would say, you do you. And then I put some shadows around it. So I need to trim around the edges and then cut each word apart. And I think it looks cute that way. This card really does remind me of Tori. And if you're interested in a really, really great therapy dog charity that you can donate to, the Titania Canine Fund for Dog Therapy is Tori's, her parents run it, obviously. Their charity for supporting therapy dogs for the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. They bring the dogs in, and it really cheers up the kids, and it helped Tori a lot when she was in cancer treatment, and so that's why she wanted to start this charity, which her parents run. So I will put a link below the video if you'd like to donate to support therapy dogs. You know, it's nonprofit, so they need donations and fundraisers to keep their program going, to bring the kids some happiness when they're sick. So the last thing I did was to put on some diamond Stickles glitter glue to just add a little bit of sparkle to the flowers, to the eyes, and just a little bit on the tip of the nose. So that's it for day 26. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.